So Manchester United are interested in signing Alex Scott and Matheus Fernandes, and these are the two signings that I've craved so much. I admire so much for Manchester United because they are exactly going to change the course of Manchester United season for a very long time. Because I feel that Manchester United for a very long time have lacked midfielders that can be able to hold the ball, that can be brave, that can be able to detect the play, that can be able to elevate the play of Manchester United. I think a recent fan of Manchester United have not really watched Manchester United dominates play for a lot of time, and this is something that needs to change because Michael Carrick is a midfielder, and that is why I like Michael Carrick as a coach, because being a midfielder, he will definitely want to prioritize holding the ball more, dominating position more, being more brave on the ball, and this is why he is targeting players that is going to be brave on the ball, that is going to elevate Manchester United in terms of possession domination, in terms of tempo control, and in terms of controlling the possession for Manchester United. So, of course, when we are talking about Alex Scott and Matheus Fernandes, of course, we should not forget Kobe Mino because he has played well for Manchester United, especially towards the second half of the season. After Amorim left, he has showed that he can be able to regularly turn up for Manchester United. He can regularly feature for us. And, of course, he's somebody that we should be looking to be building the midfield around. And also, Bruno Fernandes, of course, is going to start ahead of all of them. So, all the three midfielders on the screen are particularly not going to start. Two are going to start alongside Bruno Fernandes. But I like the kind of midfielders that Manchester United are prioritizing this season. Targeting midfielders, they cover the ball more efficiently. They are very good on the ball. They are brave on the ball. They are brave on the first phase. They can be able to play those long diagonal passes. And also another thing is that these three midfielders on the screen don't occupy one position. These are players that are very technically gifted players. They like to occupy different positions on the pitch. So instead of being a natural number 6 or being a natural number 8, these are players that like to receive the ball, spend more time on the ball, occupy different positions, make those diagonal passes, try to also make forward runs, and then so they can be able to give goals and assists. So if you look at the screen, we don't have exactly a defensive midfielder, but we have technicians. We have players that can be able to elevate Manchester United both on the ball and both without the ball. So guys, if you have not subscribed to Tactical Trafford, before we get into this video, I want you guys to subscribe. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford as we get into this video together. So before we start this video, I'm aware that we have 12 players on the pitch, and because we are talking about midfielders and because we are talking about Scott and Fernandes, we are sort of going to leave it like this for today's video. We're sort of going to analyze these targets using 12 players on the pitch. So first of all, if you hear Matheus Fernandes and if you hear Alex Scott, what are your first expectations of these targets? What are your expectations of these players? What are they going to bring for Manchester United? How are they going to help us in different phases, the first phase, the second phase, and also in the third phase? How can they help Manchester United to be more comfortable on the ball? How can they help us to be more consistent in domination of possession? Because this is something that Manchester United have lacked for a very long time. More than 13 years from now, Manchester United have not been able to successfully dominate teams in the Premier League when they want to win. Majority of the times, we just rely on counter-attacks, and this is something that of course, this is a philosophy that is going to change, because of course, they said Manchester United wants to use the same philosophy as Paris Saint-Germain, where we don't get exactly a defensive midfielder, but we get a number 6 that can be able to help us to dominate the play. So first of all, you know that one of the expectations is that you're going to have players that are not going to be in one position. There is going to be a lot of positional rotation across the pitch, and this is going to be very hard for the opposition team to mark us, because of course in the Premier League, in the first phase, during the press, opposition likes to press and likes to squeeze you as much as possible. It is going to be very hard for them to press us because you are going to have a lot of players occupying different positions in the middle of the park. There's going to be constant positional rotation. So of course it's very hard for them to be able to, it's going to be hard for them to mark us. So, and then of course you know that with Alex Scott, you're going to have a player that is very similar to Kobe Mino. He's a player that can be able to, out of these three players we are analyzing, Alex Scott is one person that can be able to conveniently play in the number 6 position efficiently because he can give those long passes. He's a very aggressive player, because of course when you hear and see Alex Scott, you wouldn't know that he's a player that can be very aggressive. I think he's very aggressive. He knows how to recover properly. He knows how to win the ball properly, and also in a situation where Manchester United wants to press and wants to win that ball as much as possible and try to counter-attack. And Scott is also a player that is very good in pressing, and he also knows how to make the ball out of the opposition. And again, talking about how he's very similar with Kobe Mino, he has a very wonderful footwork, and it's one of his characteristics that is very underrated. I think he also has a more better footwork than Kobe Mino because he knows how to, with the leg overs, with the he's not very direct in his dribbles. He can, sort of take the player to the right and he can be able to quickly switch to the left. So he's very unpredictable with his footwork, and he's a player that can be able to play out of tight spaces. So in a situation where Manchester United is being pressed, in a situation whereby you are being crowded out in the middle of the park, he's that kind of player that can be able to play out of tight spaces, play those short and medium passes. He has the footwork to get out of tight spaces. So with Alex Scott, we have that balance in the middle. We have somebody who can drop in between defenders. He's somebody who can also, sit in this number 6 position to scan the play, to, throw passes left and right, diagonal passes. He's a player that can be able to also consistently pass that ball like Lisandro Martinez. His passing range is so wonderful. He's a player that sees passes that you as a player you cannot be able to see on the pitch. He's that kind of player that can be able to, give that passes that can be able to split fullbacks, that can be able to split defensive line. He constantly likes to play this, in behind passes, this line breaking passes. Is something progressive passes. He's not just that kind of player that can be able to hold the ball and then try to recycle with the goalkeeper. No, he likes to play those progressive passes. He likes to progress the play, and this is sort of the kind of midfielder we want. And then also with Matheus Fernandes, you have a player that can be able to also sit in the middle, that can also join the back three and orchestrate the play from behind. He's that player that can be able to spray these passes consistently. There is no pass that Matheus Fernandes cannot pull off, because I feel in the Premier League he's one of the best passers currently in the Premier League. I think he's definitely unrivaled when it comes to long passes. He can constantly spray those passes from the number 6 position. He also has an elite ball recovery. So with these 2 targets of Matheus Fernandes and Alex Scott, obviously the cost of our midfield is also going to change. And also not forgetting Manchester United has just signed Edison from Atlanta. So Manchester United, in terms of the midfield, if we can be able to pull up Alex Scott and Matheus Fernandes as our next 2 signings, it is going to really change the course of next season. So guys, if you want Manchester United to sign both Alex Scott and Matheus Fernandes, I want you guys to give me your thoughts on the comment section. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford as we keep making more content that you love.